Are you serious? Are you serious? You know, this week the United Nations are gathering in New York City. And once again, the characters are going to show up. But there's a new face on the scene. Iran's brand new president, Hassan Rouhani. Now, he's a former nuclear negotiator, and he's behind the nuclear energy program in a big way. But it's not just energy that Iran wants. It's a nuclear weapon to use, if possible, not only for leverage against Israel and the world, but the annihilation of Jerusalem, if possible. Now, I have some scripture I want to read, but you know that President Barack Obama will also speak at the UN, as well as other many world leaders. Get a cup of coffee, because something biblical is going on with the signs of the second coming of Christ. First of all, the Lord showed us that President Barack Obama truly is the king that understands dark sentences. Now, the Bible spoke about this in Daniel chapter 8 in the latter times, and let me read it to you. Daniel chapter 8, verse 22. Now that being broken, whereas four stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up. And his power, I believe this is President Obama, and his power shall be mighty. No, he's not the Antichrist. No, he's not the Antichrist. He's the king that understands dark sentences. Let me read, okay? And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully. And he is destroying the moral fiber of this country. And he shall prosper and practice and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. And through his policies, although also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart. And by a peace initiative, he shall destroy many. And he shall also stand up against the prince of princesses, but he shall be broken without hand. So, he will prosper. He is mighty, not by his own power. He thinks so in his own heart. He elevates himself and exalts himself within himself. And he will prosper and practice and destroy wonderfully many people, many of the holy people, many mighty people with his policies and practices. But in the end, he will fail when he stands up against the Prince of Peace. All right. Now, having said that, turn your Bibles now with me to Daniel 9:27, because John F. Kerry is working on the peace agreement. He is literally working on the very covenant that was talked about in Daniel chapter 9:27, the abomination of desolation. Now, Jesus even warned when he was given the question as he was standing on the Mount of Olives in Matthew 24. The disciples said, "Can you tell us the signs of thy coming and the end of the world?" And Jesus said yes, and he went down this list of things like there shall be false Christ and false prophets shall rise, and they shall deceive many. There will be wars and rumors of wars. Nation arise against nation, kingdoms against kingdoms. There will be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in divers places, and all of these the beginning of sorrows. And many of you are going to be persecuted. Many Christians and Jews are going to be thrown into prison, even put to death, okay? And because iniquity abound, the love of many is going to wax cold. And they're going to betray one another. And there's going to be all this going on. But then Jesus says, and when you see the abomination of desolation spoken by the prophet Daniel, or spoken by Daniel the prophet, when you see this abomination standing in the holy place, oh, you know you're right at the end. Matter of fact, when this gospel is preached into all the world, Jesus said, then shall the end come. Yet no man knows the day nor the hour. No, not even the angels in heaven, not even the Son of God. Only the Father. He said that in Matthew 24:36. But specifically, he mentions a major milestone event. That is the abomination of desolation, spoken by Daniel. Well, let's go to that. And then Paul gives us an explanation of it in 2 Thessalonians. Here's what it says in Daniel 9:27. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. Now in Daniel, a day equals a year. A lot of times in these visions of Daniel. That's not the case all through the Bible. Sometimes a day equals 1,000 years with God. But God simplifies it for us a little bit, and in this vision speaks about a day, a week, a 1 week period, or 7-year period. So he says, and he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, or 7 years. And in the midst of that week, or in a 3.5-year period, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, which means that the temple will be rebuilt. And that's confirmed by Paul in Thessalonians when he says, when you see the son of perdition, the wicked one, the lawless one, when he shall reveal himself and walk into the temple of God before the worshipers of God and declare that he is God, standing in the holy place, which is what Jesus meant when he said, this abomination of desolation, spoken by Daniel, because he knew in this covenant with many people will be the right for the Jewish people to rebuild the third temple of the Lord. You might say, how did he know there was going to be a third temple when there was only one temple when he was there? Solomon's temple had already been destroyed, and there was Herod's temple was there, and Jesus said, look, this generation is not even going to pass away, and not one stone of that temple will not be turned over. And he was right. In 70 AD, the Roman Empire destroyed the second temple. So Jesus knew there would be a third. All right, now look at this. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week or 7 years, and in the midst of that week he will cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. And for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. So he talks about this abomination of desolation. And he knew what he meant by that because as Daniel prophesied these things, he's seen a day of a destruction, if you will, of the temple of God. And in 586 BC, the Babylonian Empire destroyed the temple on the 9th of Av. Then Herod rebuilt the temple, only to have it destroyed again by the Roman Empire on 70 AD on the 9th of Av. Now Jesus still was prophesying of a third temple, and another abomination, and this time Paul says, let me tell you what that abomination is. It is the Antichrist, the leader of the New World Order, the leader of the one world government, the leader of the beast that John speaks about in Revelation. This Antichrist will walk into the temple of God before the worshipers of God and declare that he is God, committing an abomination of desolation. Now, standing in the holy place. Now, we know there won't be sacrifices going on at the temple as there once was, because when John saw the new temple, God put a reed in his hand and told him to measure it in a vision. And when he said, when you measure the blueprints of this third temple, build it, it will be built without an outer court. It's in the outer court that the brazen altar was, where the sacrifice of the animals for the sins of the people were done. There won't be an outer court, which means there won't be an actual sacrificing going on. God spoke in Revelation and said that outer court has been reserved to the Gentiles. And that's why Benjamin Netanyahu has the blueprints of a third temple that he wants to build. And that temple is a modified version of Solomon's temple, smaller without an outer court, and will set adjacent to the Dome of the Rock that the Muslims worship in now at Mount Moriah. And the outer court will be the courtyard where Muslims, Christians, and Jews will walk around as they are on top of the Temple Mount. This will all be signed and packaged in an agreement in the last day agreement, or if you will, this covenant that John Kerry is currently working on. That shows you how close we are in Bible prophecy history to the one of the major milestones of the end times that were spoken by Jesus Christ in Matthew 24. Now, I've said all that to say this. The reason you're seeing all the radical Islamic activity, Al-Shabaab, Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, all of these groups, these murderous Muslim groups, is because Satan is trying to prevent this moment. Because he knows when this moment comes, the time is just about over. And he knows the Word of God, believe me. Lucifer knows the Word of God, and he knows his destiny, his fate is sealed. Hell was not made for mankind, never was. Matter of fact, the Bible even says that it's not God's will that any should perish, but all should come to repentance. Jesus Christ died on the cross, was buried in the tomb, and rose from the dead, and is soon coming back again after ascending to the Father to come get the bride of Christ. Have you accepted Jesus Christ as your Savior? Look at the pitfalls that are in the world right now. Besides the temptations and the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life that you got to deal with on a fleshly basis. Look at the demonic spirits that are loose in the land with this zombie apocalypse, this almost legions of demon activity, witchcraft, voodooism, hoodooism, Wiccans, warlocks, wizards, every type of sorcery you can imagine, demon spirits, evil, concupiscence, perverted sexual orientation, destroying the very moral fiber of the world. While all of these evils are going on, systematically there are principalities and powers and spiritual wickedness working in high places. Are you serious? What? Yes, demons are real. Somebody was sitting there watching this right here saying, I don't believe in demons. Wake up! It's already got you. You need deliverance. In the name of Jesus, set free from those demonic spirits that are trying to destroy your life. Are you saved? I'm sitting here today drinking a cup of coffee with you. I'm going to ask you one specific question. If Christ should return in the blink of an eye, boom, are you going to heaven or hell? Are you saved? I'm not one of them little pansy preachers in the presbytery. I'm not one of those little fluffy puffy. I'm not bringing you a 3-point PowerPoint and a poem and a pacifier and pat you on the back on your way to the pit of hell. I want you to know that Jesus Christ shed his blood on the cross, and that blood atonement, can save your soul from sin and save mine. Now you have to accept this by faith. You have to believe that there is a God, and that he truly loves you. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but the world through him might be saved. Give your life to Jesus Christ. We're truly, truly, truly living in the last days. Time is running out. The bride is getting ready to leave. Will you be going with the bride of Christ? Send me a personal email, personal message, if you want to, right here on this YouTube channel, and just title it, I want to be saved. I want to be saved. I want to be saved. Or come to my live broadcast today from 12 noon to 3 p.m. Eastern and type right in that chat room, I want to be saved. Because I will pray with you live on the air and help lead you to Jesus Christ.